Dear listener, take a moment wherever you are right now and ask yourself this profound question. What if the greatest, most underutilized power you possess, the skill that dictates your success in every relationship, negotiation, and leadership moment, is your communication skill? I'm thrilled and genuinely grateful you've chosen to spend this dedicated time with me, because what you're about to discover is not just a collection of simple tips for talking better. This is a comprehensive look at the architecture of influence itself. For too long, we've treated communication as a rudimentary skill you pick up in school or simply absorb through life. We treat it like a chore, a necessary mechanical transaction. I speak, you listen, and we're done. But the truth is far more powerful and far-reaching. Communication is the currency of influence. It is the single most vital skill that elevates a good leader to a great one, turns a conflict into a compromise, and deepens a superficial acquaintance into a lifelong relationship. It is the core engine driving all personal fulfillment and professional success. The state of your communication skills is the state of your life. Over the next several minutes, we are going to dismantle the old limiting myths about what effective communication is, and in their place, we will build a powerful, precise, and actionable framework. You will discover the essential components that move you from merely being an adequate talker to becoming a masterful, influential communicator. Someone who is not just heard, but deeply understood and inherently trusted. Our journey will focus on unlocking and mastering three definitive areas, the three pillars of transformative communication. First, the foundational, often overlooked necessity of deep listening. Second, the strategic, surgical power of intentional clarity in crafting your message. And finally, the magnetic, undeniable force of authentic presence in your delivery. Prepare to revolutionize your voice. Prepare to transform the very nature of your relationships, your career trajectory, and the positive impact you leave on the world simply by mastering this one essential human skill. Let's begin this transformation right now. Many people falsely believe that the pinnacle of communication skill is being a great talker, someone quick-witted, articulate, and always ready with the perfect comeback or the cleverest phrase. I'm here to tell you that the opposite is true. A truly influential communicator is, first and foremost, a master listener. Think about your own habits for a moment. Most of us engage in a default mode of listening, which I call surface listening. We aren't listening to fully understand the other person's world, their perspective, or their needs. No, we are often listening solely to reply. We are waiting for our turn, mentally rehearsing our rebuttal or preparing our brilliant counterpoint while the other person is still speaking. When we engage in this common trap, we are only absorbing the superficial words. We are completely missing the subtext, the emotion, and the actual human message hidden beneath the language. This superficial engagement is the silent killer of deep connection, respect, and mutual trust. To truly transform your communication skill, you must make a conscious, profound, and daily shift toward deep listening. This is not a passive activity. It is an act of fierce, intellectual, and emotional generosity that requires discipline. It means consciously silencing the internal commentator, turning off the mental radio that narrates your own thoughts, and giving the speaker the rarest gift of all, your complete, undivided, and unhurried attention. Practically, this dedication manifests in three critical, precision-focused actions that must become habits. First, you must resolve to stop interrupting. This seems simplistic, yet observe yourself. How frequently do we finish someone else's sentence or jump in with a tangentially related anecdote about ourselves? Patience in conversation is a communication muscle you must build and flex daily. Second, train yourself to listen for emotion, not just for facts. When a colleague or loved one speaks, ask yourself the deeper question. What is the core feeling behind these words? Is it masked frustration, quiet excitement, or profound uncertainty? When you consciously respond to the emotion, it sounds like you feel overwhelmed by this project. You validate the person at a deeper level than simply agreeing with their idea. You show empathy, which is the cornerstone of influential communication. And third, use reflective summary statements. Never assume you fully grasp the message. Use powerful phrases like, "So just to make sure I've fully absorbed this, the single most important challenge we face is X," or "It seems you're feeling a great deal of pressure about Y. Is that accurate?" This act of precise reflection confirms your understanding, shows genuine respect for their thoughts, and immediately builds a bedrock of trust that allows the conversation to progress with genuine understanding. Remember this foundational truth of communication. People don't truly care what you know until they know that you care. Deep listening is the silent, essential first step in proving that you care. Once you've firmly established the foundational communication skill of deep listening, we turn our attention to the second pillar, your spoken message itself. Far too many conversations, professional presentations, and even written communications suffer from what I label idea clutter. We desperately dilute our own power by attempting to say everything we know at once, overwhelming the listener with excessive detail, tangents, and lack of focus. Influential communication is never about being the most verbose person in the room. It is about being utterly intentional. Every single word you choose must be scrutinized and must earn its precise place in the message. Before you utter a single sentence, you must pause and ask yourself two essential clarifying questions to sharpen your intent. First, what is the absolute single most important idea I want this person to remember 1 hour from now? This is your unwavering North Star. And second, what precise action or specific deeper understanding do I want the listener to take away from this entire exchange? This is your desired outcome. When you know your North Star and your desired outcome with crystalline clarity, your language naturally becomes more focused, concise, and incredibly potent. Your communication gains the surgical precision of a laser. This is also where you must intentionally activate the immense power of vocal variety. Your voice, listener, is not a monotone machine designed to deliver data. It is a complex, beautiful musical instrument that conveys emotion and energy. To maintain and command your listener's attention, especially in a long format like this, you must deliberately vary your delivery. Control your pace. Slow down drastically for emphasis and importance. Speed up slightly for excitement or to smoothly transition between points. But most crucially, embrace the strategic power of pauses. Use silence as a potent punctuation mark to allow a profound statement to sink into the listener's mind. Vary your pitch. Allow your voice to rise and fall naturally. A flat, unchanging pitch signals a flat, unengaging message regardless of how brilliant the content is. And finally, master your volume. Lower your voice slightly to draw people in, making them lean forward mentally to hear a key secret or a deep truth. Increase it strategically to stress a critical, undeniable point that must not be missed. Intentional clarity is the disciplined communication process of carving away all informational excess until all that remains is the sharp, compelling, and unforgettable heart of your message. This discipline is the absolute difference between confusing people and genuinely moving people to action. And finally, we arrive at the third most magnetic element of all influential communication: presence. You can listen perfectly. You can structure your message flawlessly. But if you show up as a rehearsed performance, as a filtered, inauthentic, or overly guarded version of yourself, your message will ultimately fail to connect. People possess an innate, deep-seated ability to sense a lack of genuine human connection. And when they detect even a hint of inauthenticity, they instinctively pull back their trust and their attention. Authentic presence is the state of perfect alignment between your body, your emotion, and your spoken words. It means being fully, powerfully present in the single moment you are occupying, unburdened by past communication failures or worries about future judgment. To cultivate this magnetic, compelling presence, you must courageously embrace vulnerability with purpose. Being vulnerable is not about carelessly airing all your flaws. It is about being brave enough to share the truth of your experience, a moment of doubt, or a learning curve, when it genuinely serves the message and helps the listener relate. Sharing a personal struggle you overcame, a moment of sincere humility, or a profound, genuine passion makes you intensely relatable. It swiftly moves you from being an inaccessible expert on a stage to a trusted, insightful guide walking beside the listener. Think, too, about your body language and posture, even if this is only an audio recording. Sit or stand with an open posture, shoulders back, spine straight. This physical openness and groundedness will immediately translate into a more confident, deeply resonant, and authoritative voice that naturally commands attention. When you speak from a place of unshakable, genuine belief and personal authority, your voice carries a different kind of undeniable weight. It is an authority that cannot be faked. It is simply the sound of truth, and there is nothing more influential in communication than that. So, dear listener, we've covered significant ground together on this transformative journey to elevate your communication skills. You've discovered that the path to powerful, impactful communication is not about mastering one isolated trick, but about cultivating a complete, intentional way of being and relating in the world. This transformation requires a daily, deliberate commitment to deep listening to understand, validate, and build trust. It requires intentional clarity to focus your potent message and use your voice as a precision tool of variety and emotion. And it requires authentic presence to ground your entire delivery in vulnerability, confidence, and truth. This is not a distant finish line. It is a rewarding daily practice that will yield exponential results. Starting today, I urge you to choose one conversation, just one, and dedicate yourself fully to implementing all three pillars. Put your devices completely away. Stop your internal critique. Focus your entire being on the other person's eyes, their posture, and their underlying emotion. Watch what happens next. Watch how their energy changes, how their guard drops, and how your connection deepens in real time. You will find, without fail, that when you choose to change how you communicate, you fundamentally and beautifully change the world you experience and your place within it. Thank you for your time, your attention, and most importantly, your courage to pursue this vital life-altering skill. Go out and use your transformed voice to connect, to influence, and to lead. The world is waiting, eager to hear what you now have to say.